YouTube, but none of this has been recording.
Oh my
I
god.
hit it and I fuck with you.
What a great conversation that just went out the window. You saw me hit it, right?
I think that I am not in a position to talk on matters of what happened and what haven't happened.
I was there. I saw it. Yeah,
Okay.
so welcome back to Daddyland. The park is once again open. I am your Comptroller, Intern Carson. Please welcome the mayor of Daddyland, Cooper Johnson. We just had an amazing conversation that was not recorded at all.
That's severely disappointing.
But the video is working.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I was manifesting the video this time, and I didn't manifest the audio. That was the issue. I have to make sure I
You have to
manifest
find a
both.
happy middle ground of manifestation because you lean one way, you lean too far the other way, and then we get our episodes fucked up and missing. I don't think Ryan's put a curse on us. I think it's you.
Don't take away my water. So as we were talking about the Mole Man Space Wars.
This is so devoid of context.
What do we do now?
Do we Scooby-Doo this shit? Do we retrace our steps?
We can do a little bit of that. So, for context, everyone, now that you can hear us,
We've been recording this podcast.
it wasn't that long. It was like 10 minutes.
It felt longer, but it might be because I'm very high right now.
We're high, ready to save the world, solve its problems. That's
And-
why I got my action suit on, my
Yeah.
super suit, ready to make. We're both agents of change.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? So we started out with. I should be writing down minutes as well. The minutes of the council.
Talked about ghost therapy first.
Yeah, because Cooper was like, I look like a Silent Hill character, and then I was like, ghost trauma, and then ghost trauma somehow led to homeless people, and then that led to what if we
Caves.
all lived in caves, and then we were talking about in the future how that there's going to be mole humans and then surface people, and they're going to fight in a war. All right, that caught us up.
I think we really skipped over Do Ant's Dream.
That was a good one. Yeah, I forgot about
I
that.
keep thinking about it.
It was a short one, but a good one.
Is there any way for us to check if ants dream? Because you know,
Let's ask
that
'em.
dogs dream.
You can see it.
You can see it, and they do little kicky things because they're probably running in their dreams, or they'll be all shaky if something scary is happening, And so in that vein, then I assume most animals dream. So, which begs the question: do ants dream? And what do they dream about?
They probably all just really want to fuck the queen. That's what they all got on their mind, I think.
Or are ants similar to bees in that sense? There's just like one queen that rules everything.
Yeah. I think that's how a lot of insects with like nests work.
They report to one guy.
Yeah.
They even got capitalism down there.
Yeah, you got the guys who are they're like, that poor ant who's just been lifting the biggest crumbs all his life and he ain't got no queen pussy.
But here's the thing about that. Fucking at the very least, like bees know when to stand the fuck up for themselves, because if their queen like stops producing more bees, they fucking kill her.
And they find a new one.
And they find a new one. They're like, if you're not putting out anymore, we're fucking getting a new wife.
Yeah, I don't know how that works with ants. I'm scared of them, so I've avoided all information.
That's right, you're scared of spiders and ants. What a great combination of things to be terrified of.
Yeah.
We had a spider in the house the other day.
He was
and
pretty big.
He was not that big.
Like the biggest ones we have in Alberta are like the size of my thumb, so
Okay,
that's
yeah.
pretty huge.
I'm
for
used
me.
to pretty big spiders out here.
Yeah, I've never seen
Our
that
wolf
before.
spiders can get kind of big. I remember one time I was at a summer camp. I think I told the story on like the second episode of the podcast, but I was at this summer camp and there's like these little tree houses that you could like go sleep in, and everyone was like, yeah, it sounds cool in concept until you're in there. And I was like, I didn't believe them. And then in like the middle of the night, I shine my flashlight around in the room and there are spiders, big ones, everywhere. Like there was one that was literally at one of the kids' heads. Like it wasn't on it, but it was near its head while it was sleeping. And I just like hid as far as I could in my sleeping bag and just like bundled it up. So I was just in this cocoon that could not be spider infested.
Yeah.
Very, very, very terrifying. So that spider was pretty normal sized.
So interesting segue about how big insects work.
Mhm.
And this would also solve your Oh yeah, because we were talking about ghost trauma as well. Because Cooper had insomnia last night, and I figured it was maybe ghost trauma that was keeping him up. But uh, so the reason humans need to sleep is like we need to like recharge on oxygen, right?
Hmm.
So if there was more oxygen in the atmosphere, we could be awake 24/7. The trade-off with that though is that insects would be 6 feet tall,
Why is that?
because the oxygen would let them grow bigger.
Is that really the only thing that's inhibiting them? So
Yeah.
what if we hook up an ant to a gas tank?
If you like if you had like an oxygen chamber and you had like generations of insects grow up in it, they'd get bigger.
Have we?
That's why spiders are bigger here versus in Alberta, because there's like it's a higher altitude and there's less oxygen. Because at a certain point, like I don't know what the eras are called. You know how the Earth has like the 6 different like. There was one where like it was when Earth got the tree DLC
Mhm.
or the tree patch where trees started growing, but they hadn't gotten like fungus yet to decompose them.
Yeah.
So there was just a ridiculous amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, and like the trees after they die, they'd collapse, but they wouldn't get like eaten or anything. So there was just a fuckload of, or maybe it was CO2. There was just a fuckload of something in the atmosphere during that era. I think the insects were like 10 feet tall.
So, how long do you think it would take if we say threw a wolf spider and some wolf spider family into a big fucking chamber and then pump that shit full of air so they can breathe more? How long do you think it would take for them to start evolving?
So
Like, would it be similar to
because
humans
I'm
where
a
it's like
scientist,
fucking millions of years?
like I'm wearing my action suit, so I'm an expert on almost anything right now.
Yeah, of course.
So this is my theory. So like you know how in like when was Shakespeare around, like 1600?
Yeah.
People were all like 5 feet tall back then,
Hmm.
and now we're like most people are at least like 5'7".
Hmm.
So how many generations ago was that? That was like 10 probably 10 great grandpas ago.
Yeah, that's about 4 centuries.
Yeah, so we got like
So
I don't know 15-20% bigger. So maybe like 100 generations of spiders we'd see some real results. I think. I don't know about
but
6 feet tall, but
they're like they're I guess what I'm curious of because they reproduce much faster than we do.
so
Like
I don't know how many. I don't know how. I
yeah,
don't know what the birth cycle of a spider is, but I think 10 or 100 cycles of families, we would start seeing something crazy. I don't know about 6 feet tall, but I think it'd be noticeable because it's not like they're evolving; they're just getting bigger.
yeah.
They're not, developing new limbs or like genomes or anything. They're just getting bigger.
I'm not saying they get new limbs. I'm just curious like how fucking big we can actually get them, and
That'd be crazy.
then release it into the wild.
Probably whatever it was during that tree era. Because I think that was like the most amount of oxygen there's ever been on Earth, and they were I think like 10 feet tall. So that's probably the max.
10 foot tall spiders.
Yeah.
You know how fucking scary that would be
Yeah, awful.
for you.
This is I can't even. I'm sitting here like just I'm not shaking, but inside spiritually I am. I'm doing the opposite of manifesting this. I want everything against this.
All right.
But yeah,
That's
that's
good.
cool.
I mean, but here's the thing: is we need the show to run smoothly. So I know you're trying to manifest that it not happen, but you're using too much of that energy, and I think it needs to manifest the
Well-
show working first before you worry about 10-foot spiders.
What I'm doing to make it my nerves calm more is that I'm thinking about how we wouldn't need to sleep anymore and how much I'd get done.
You'd be able to kill spiders at a faster rate.
I'm thinking about how many video games I'd be able to play.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You really think that if we had 10-foot bugs, that like I think everyone would be recruited to the military to like keep back the storm.
Yeah.
I think there would be a World War
But
bug.
it'd be easier to keep an eye on them because we wouldn't have to sleep. Like we wouldn't have to go on shifts anymore. Like we could go on shifts just to take a break, but it's like we would never have our guard down because we'd be awake all the time.
That's true, yeah.
But
Half
half of what's scary.
evil never sleeps, man. They're awake too.
And what like is scary about spiders to me most of the time is like there's an 8 hour chunk where I don't know where they are. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have that issue if I didn't need to sleep all the time.
They crawl into our mouths at night. That's not true, actually. I don't think that's a real
No,
fact.
it's not.
But I am surprised that it carried as much weight as it did. Like people for a long time were like, "Nope, this is true."
It's like the thing of like if you drink Surge, your dick shrinks. You ever hear that rumor?
I don't even know what surge is.
It was like 'cause I think Mountain Dew is owned by Pepsi. It was like Coke's version of Mountain Dew,
Mm.
And I think just because I had like a crazy amount of sugar and caffeine, like some like fucking dad or something or parent was just like, yeah, if like
Yeah, that's why my dick's full.
yeah, it's like if you drink, it's just like some rumor that somebody made up to keep kids from drinking it. But it's like, yeah, if you drink it, your dick shrinks. Or just some kid on the playground was fucking jealous that all his friends were drinking Surge and he wasn't allowed to. He's like, yeah,
we should
bro.
like make that rumor happen for shit like McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
We'd have a lot healthier people because I definitely like, had I not known any better, and I was caught up in, I was at the time of this craze, I'd probably be like, even if it isn't true, I'm not gonna drink it just in case.
Hey, McDonald's gives you cancer. That's totally made
is-
up.
Okay, yeah.
But we're gonna pass it around.
Let's pass it around. We're gonna start a revolution here,
And everybody will believe it and stop eating McDonald's.
and we'll get the world's
Because
Cheeto.
people, if there's one thing people are concerned about, it's their health.
Yeah.
So that's another issue we could talk. What issues do you want to talk about?
Buddy, I can't think of any, mate. Oh, I can think of one.
Okay.
Why the fuck are they making a prequel
Oh yeah.
to A Quiet Place? That has bugged me all weekend. So this weekend they announced, this is going to date this episode, but we shoot it every 2 weeks, so everyone knows this by now. They announced at this thing called CinemaCon that they are making a prequel to A Quiet Place called A Quiet Place Day One. I hate it because we know how the movie ends. Some guy goes, we should be more quiet. And everyone goes, hey, that's a great idea. And then that's how it ends. What are they going to do? Seriously, what are they going to do to, like,
Make it interesting.
make it interesting? Like, because I had an idea that to make the movie interesting, the aliens are really polite at first. Like, they come down.
But they can't do that because in A Quiet Place 2, they show day one. Like a huge chunk of the movie is.
Here's what I'm here's because, like, listen, the movie's gonna be called Day One. I guarantee you, the story's gonna start far before the first day.
Okay.
Here's my theory, okay? Because if they're, I don't
Oh,
know.
do you think it'd be a thing like it starts way before, and then like the third act is the actual day one,
Yeah.
and some shit goes down, and then the title card's at the end, where it's like that was day one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because here's how I think the movie's gonna go. All right, fade in, and it's not gonna they're gonna do like a really late title card, where like halfway through the movie, like when things start getting A Quiet Placey, they do Day One.
Yeah.
So the movie starts, and I'm assuming if this features John Krasinski and his family again, from the first A Quiet Place and second A Quiet Place movie, if
Probably.
they're the main characters.
Maybe it'll be Cillian Murphy's.
All right.
In which case it'll be
Boring.
28 Days Later too.
Oh yeah, he's in that. Oh, he's
Have you
not.
seen it?
28 Days Later? Yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie.
They're gonna make it again, with monsters instead of zombies. It's called A Quiet Place Day One.
Called A Quiet Place Day One. So this is if it follows John Krasinski's family. So the movie actually opens with their deaf daughter being born. We go back that far. Because then they're gonna do some kind of like stupid thing at the beginning of the movie. She's the older sister in it. Like
This is like 10 plus years.
10 plus years. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
okay.
This is what they're gonna do because then you have John Krasinski and their wife, and the doctor walks in the room and he's just like,
De-age Office John Krasinski.
yeah. So the doctor walks into the room to de-age John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, and he goes, "Listen, I got some bad news. Even though scientifically this doesn't make sense for us to know this right now, your baby is deaf." And they're really heartbroken because they're like, "Oh, this is horrible. She'll never live in a world where not having to hear things will be important." To really set the stage for it, okay? Because that makes everything that happened in the first movie even better. Because John Krasinski's trying to like, get his daughter to accept herself or let him know that he loves her. I haven't seen it.
Have you seen either of them? Nothing? No.
No.
Okay. All right.
So John Krasinski.
Hold on 1 second. Shut up. All right.
There you go. You stopped him. Good
Yeah.
job. You readily.
I told you I can manifest things. I'm an agent of change.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay, tell me about Quiet Place.
So yeah, so like the doctor walks in, he goes like, your daughter's gonna be like deaf. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense that we would know this right now because the baby doesn't really react to anything at all because it's a baby. But your baby's deaf, and then they have the whole thing like they're like, she, and then you get like a whole kind of montage through the years where you see stuff. You know what they do? They tie a lot of the stuff they do in the first A Quiet Place, and they tie. Is it being picked up on the mic?
I can hear it.
Okay. Well, you're also right by the whatever.
Shut up.
Our neighbors are moving because there's must be some kind of stock collapse happening.
Yeah, we're in for Big Short 2.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
everybody short the housing market. You'll make a bunch of money, I promise. And if it backfires, I didn't tell you. This is
I'm
just,
not legally an actual financial
I just like the
advisor.
stock. This isn't advice.
So yeah, so then you get kind of a montage through their life, her growing up deaf, and you'll probably do like a lot of like allusions to the first movie, so like things they do in the first movie they're doing here but louder. And then also
This would be where you'd have jokes if you'd seen the movie.
yeah. And yeah, in my version of the movie at least, there's a lot of like jokes. Like it's really jokey, this movie, because they're like pointing at the irony of this world of people who like listening to things, and like maybe like there's a scene where like one of the younger kids is like listening to music really loud, and like a grandma walks in the room and she's just like, you'll always be able to listen to music as loud as you want. Save your ears now, and like stuff like that. And like it'll be scenes of like them eating dinner where like in A Quiet Place, I think there's a scene where they're just eating lettuce like turtles. And then in this
turtles.
one, lettuce turtles, yeah. And then but in this movie they're eating just loud crunchy bread and stuff like that. Like just
nice china plates that go clink when you
clink,
put them down.
yeah. So you get a lot of that. And then this is where like I think if you want to really catch people off guard and make the movie interesting, is then in like maybe you got to introduce the conflict early. So how about our actual like good point of view? It's not our good point of view, but it's the people we empathize with. Is we actually empathize with the aliens on this one because they come down to Earth. I'm gonna assume maybe like something bad happened, like maybe their planet blew up or something, or they're just like nice explorers seeking the universe, blah blah blah. But they come down to Earth and they're just like, oh, it's so loud. Can you turn it? And they like talk to people and they're really like they go door to door and they're like, hey, could you just bring it down like a little bit, just not a lot,
Just a little bit.
like just like you're an 11 right now, just
8.
I could handle a 7. 8 might be pushing it, but like if you put it to 7, I think everyone will be happy. I think everyone wins still. And like they're in people's houses and they're putting the volume on the TV down and they're like see, you could still hear it. And like the worst people, and like this is kind of like where the movie takes a turn, and also it fills my agenda of wanting, I only care about picture and not audio.
Yeah,
our recurring joke we have here at our house, not on the podcast, is so like it's the people who like really like having their subwoofers that like give the fucking aliens a lot of flack because they're like, you can't have this on at all. Like this is like this may sound like kind of cool to you and bassy. I'm hearing an earthquake right now. So it's a lot of drama between like them, right? And and then the aliens like go to the president. And they're like, Mr. President, please just like we just want it turned down just a little bit, like not a lot, not the whole way, a reasonable amount of volume turned down on the planet, because like we're like, sorry, we're here. And like we're respecting your customs, like we're not killing you people, which we easily could. Like, Mr. President, I'm not kidding you.
Maybe it's a refugee kind of situation. Because if like you pitched as their explorers, but in that case, like they'd be in the invasive ones to come to a place and then ask them to change.
That's why I also said maybe their planet blew up.
Yeah,
they're
okay,
refugees.
gotcha. Yeah, they have no choice.
Yeah, and they're really respectful of our customs. They're just asking like to meet. They want us to meet them in the BLT crust of the earth.
Yeah,
the lettuce. They're like, meet us in the middle, halfway. Like we won't kill you and eat you for making a peep. if you just turn your volume down to 7.
For everyone that didn't hear the beginning of the podcast, which wasn't my fault,
Okay.
what Cooper's referring to is the lettuce is the middle of the BLT, much like where the mole men would live in the middle of the earth.
If we made a cave system to give homeless
If
people
I had
houses.
pressed record at the beginning.
Yes.
Continue.
So yeah, so like the aliens are like, they're like, we want you to know, Mr. President, not holding a gun to your head metaphorically, but we could tear you to shreds very easily.
They're holding a big long insect arm to his
Yeah.
head.
And they're like, I know this looks frightening, but I usually use this just to chop up lettuce. But like, it could also cleave a head off clean if you don't cool the fuck out. Like, please. Like they start escalating, and like they can't help it. Like you empathize with them because you know how loud it is. You get like a scene in the movie where you see it from their perspective. And it's kind of like when Zod comes down to Earth and he's like, ah, like it's like that for them all the time. So you understand their suffering, and then finally, like the president is just like, fuck you, like you came, like it's like it'll be like set. I assume I don't know like exactly when the movie was set, but I'm assuming in my head this is set in like a Trump era White House where he's just like, "Fuck you! I'm not gonna. We're not gonna. America first, you know." So
I'm trying to remember. They do say the exact date. I forget when it is though. So we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. We'll go Trump era White House. And he's just like, America first. Like, not gonna happen. Did they confirm if these things are worldwide or if it's just? Because I know in the second movie, I heard one has to literally take a boat to get to where everyone is to kill
I think
them.
it is worldwide.
Okay.
But they do find an island that's like safe, and then.
But like my question is like, do they explain how they came to Earth? These aliens?
No, and the reason they don't is because originally this movie was going to be tied into the Cloverfield universe.
Oh, okay.
So everything's kept pretty
Close to the chest.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll
I
find
think-
out in this movie.
I don't even know if they show any of like day one in the first movie. That was something they went more into in the second. But in the second, they really only like show it because the second movie doesn't have any plot, and they had to fill in an extra 30 minutes of like movie.
That also has no John Krasinski, and they're like, we got to get John Krasinski.
Yeah,
back.
like,
he was
that's
the main selling point of our movie.
Pretty much. Like he's in most of the trailers, and he's just in the beginning, like looking like a sexy lumberjack running around doing shit. But yeah, he's not in the. Also, you know what's funny about the island that they go to that's like safe is like. I think like the movie's only like an hour and 30 minutes, like it's not very long. So an hour in, they finally like get this radio tower working that they've been like struggling with forever, and they like get in contact with a group of survivors. They're like, yeah, we're on this like island off the coast of, I don't know where they are, but it's off the coast of somewhere, and they're like yeah, there's no creatures here, so we can just fucking party. We have farms, the nice peaceful thing. So they go there on a boat. And a fucking creature is a stowaway on the boat and fucks up the whole island.
Yeah, that's what I was like. So that's why I'm asking, like, how they got here, because like unless they like all had a big ship, which I just
I
can't
think
imagine.
it's a meteor. I think they came in a meteor.
Okay, well then how did? Because they can't swim, they have to take a fucking boat to get to the island. What I'm curious of is like, did the meteor just happen to break off in all the different continents for us to have World War Alien, or like how did they get around? Did they do what they did in the movie? Did they just happen to catch a couple ferries across the sea and then that killed the rest of the world?
I don't remember. I know that's all in the second movie. The first movie is very much like they don't know. Like that's one thing that made the first movie really good was like they don't know like shit at all. Because just like all radio communication is cut off. And so they're just
all they know is that they just don't like.
they're like we know there's 3 in this area, and like we don't have the supplies to leave yet, so fuck it, like we'll just make do. It's a pretty self-contained story. Like they're just on a farm the whole time dealing with it. Have you seen the opening scene?
where the baby dies.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
I did. He's an annoying little kid. I'm glad he got.
Yeah.
Like he,
You know what's
he seemed old enough to should have learned his lesson.
You know what's also funny is I quite like the first movie, but it has a very stupid ending. So you said like, what are they gonna learn at the end of day one? Oh, they have to be quiet.
Yeah.
You know what they learn at the end of the first movie?
What?
The whole movie they're trying to figure out their weakness. Okay, they're like, how do we get? Because most of the movies them like
Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
Is it sound?
close.
Okay.
Just wait. So all the first movie, like they don't know what their weakness is. They don't know how to kill them. So it's all like avoidance tactics. Like they have sound traps set up to like draw them away and shit. So at the end, they learn that the daughter's hearing aids, like when you put it up against a speaker, it just produces like crazy feedback, which like stuns them for a bit. But that's not even their weakness. Like they get stunned, but that's no big deal. Their weakness is if you shoot them in the face with a shotgun, they die. So the movie, I'm not joking, Cooper. At the end of the movie, this is the last 10 seconds of the movie. Emily Blunt cocks the shotgun, shoots it in the face, head explodes, and the credits roll.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool ending. Though.
But it's like
That's-
they didn't think to shoot them in the head for like 8 years.
But does the sound, like, does the high frequency thing, like,
It like opens up their face a bit.
oh,
so they
okay,
can shoot.
well, that's
But
probably it.
even with that, when they just shoot them with a shotgun without the face opening up, it still does a lot of damage. Like they're down for the count for a good 30.
But they're pretty quick though. Isn't that kind of why like they don't do it? Like they seem from that one shot I've seen,
They're fast. But even with a shotgun, like they're down for 30. You can just fucking run away, and then if you're quiet, they can't find you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a great ending.
It's just funny to think that like, and like John Krasinski, the whole movie's like going over like he has notes on them and like their ear stuff, and he's like he just can't figure it out. It's like just frequency and a shotgun. That's all they needed. He spent 8 years trying to figure it out. Couldn't do it.
Well, look, oh my God, that builds even more importance towards the deaf daughter
Yeah.
in my prequel movie. This is
Yeah.
great.
That's where it all comes together. And in the second movie, they don't really do it too much. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah, why not? That would be the first thing I do every time.
yeah, like I don't know why they didn't just like have a speaker and then her thing and just carry it around all the time. They don't do that for some reason. They resort to like very complicated like wire traps.
Because
and
you
stuff.
kill them all so fast.
Yeah, and there's only like 3 of them where they are. They never fight like a horde of them. It's only like ever 1 or 2.
Are there hordes of them?
Not that we've seen so far. They seem because they can move very fast. Like 1 usually covers like 1 area. I think the most they fight is 2 at once. Yeah,
It's not even that bad.
it's not even that bad.
I could take them.
Yeah.
I could take the sound boogans any day.
Oh man, maybe they're the mole people. That's the next. Maybe they came from below,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like them they can see, right? They just
and there's
operate.
no sound below.
So they'd be like they'd be if, but wouldn't they? If in theory, if there was no sound on there, they would.
Well, they have to become very
Evolve.
sensitive to it to
Mm.
pick out food because they don't have
Okay.
eyes,
Okay.
and they go up top, and they're just.
So, ow, 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 ow. It's so hot, so
Yeah.
loud. All right, well, there you go.
There you go. We solved the Quiet Place day 1. Another world issue solved.
Yeah, we just figured out like the only way that could make it a new movie would be make the aliens compelling.
It's also stupid because the apocalypse genre is very tired out. Like, much like the Western in the 70s and 80s, like they just they did everything they could in that genre. We're kind of at that already with Apocalypse, like after all the zombie shit in like 2013. But what interests me always is like, I want to see like 100 years past day 1. Like, I want to see society rebuilding. And every time we get deeper into a franchise where we're like, okay, maybe we can make the jump now, they always go, no, we're taking it back. Like, I've seen day 1 probably 100 times in different media franchises. I want to see day 8 million. Where is it?
That's the Star Wars sequels. That's well after day 1.
That's not an apocalypse, Cooper.
To someone might be. The fall of the Great Republic was probably a big apocalypse for a lot of people.
I guess you're right. Yeah, it is. You know what's funny though is like Order 66 is like, you know, that's like the Nazi regime taking over. But from Tatooine's perspective, nothing changed. Like
No.
life was shitty there before.
it's gonna be.
If anything,
shitty
it got better because they had the stormtroopers come in to kind of rile up the real criminals.
yeah.
But like from there, it's like they're still slaves. It's still sandy as fuck. No water. Everyone's like thirsty.
It's all the same to an ant.
If anything, Luke looked a lot happier than Anakin did growing up.
Yeah, you're right. He really didn't have that bad of a life.
No, he's fine.
I
Compared
mean,
to
Anakin was a slave. But
yeah.
that'll be bad for anybody.
So like, you know, wait, this is a subreddit about this, I think, already. Like, the Empire did nothing wrong. But from Luke's perspective, his life was way better than his dad's. So what's he mad about?
Literally, Leia ruined his life because he was happy with it. I mean, he wasn't happy with him, but he was
Like, he was, like, had
he had a-
dreams
he
and
had a- he had a-
aspirations.
He had a content life.
He was bored,
Bored.
but he had no pain.
Yeah, is that so bad that boredom is the worst of your issues?
He was
Then
so
he
bored, he
loses,
had to
like-
go join a rebellion.
He loses his aunt and uncle. He loses his fucking old mentor. He loses a hand, and then he loses his dad, and then his fucking hot sister that he would have banged had he not known.
Turned out to be his sister.
And now she's fucking the other cool guy in the movie. Luke's life got worse.
Tenfold.
And then he died, an old pathetic man.
His life got so bad, he was like, I gotta go live on a rock and kill kids. Like his dad.
like his dad. It's like poetry.
It's like poetry.
Rhymes. Yeah. So Luke's life got worse. The Empire maybe was not so bad. Not saying not condoning everything the Empire did.
But
They
Tatooine got better.
got better. They were seeing fucking so many improvements. And look what happened in the fucking Book of Boba Fett. They're just trading out evil leaders for
ain't
evil
seen it.
leaders.
I ain't seen it.
I haven't either, but Boba Fett becomes the crime leader boss, and everyone's like,
that's
"Oh, that's great!
Yeah, that's dope.
Another criminal in charge."
So next issue.
Yeah.
What's been bothering us recently? So we went over Ghost Trauma, and then that didn't get recorded. That was cool. Solved.
Problem. Didn't get recorded.
Didn't get recorded. Kind of. I brought it back a bit for the Mole Man thing, and then we had Quiet Place Part 1 or Day 1, whatever the fuck.
Glad we resolved that one. And we just resolved the issue of. I honestly don't even remember what we were just talking about. That high right now.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Do you want to do a quick check if the cameras are recording?
Yeah, so Cooper's going to do a quick ad break for the product that everyone needs right now, and I'm going to go check to see if the camera's still recording because, they work perfectly every single time. There's no reason I should be doing this.
So today we're sponsored by Me Funchies. And they're kind of like underwear that you can wear. Which, I mean, you can wear regular underwear, but this is underwear that you can wear and eat if you wanted to. Because they're actually made of munchies, like munchie mix. But it's a rare new kind of form of underwear, much like your antimicrobial underwear, which doesn't smell. This underwear, it doesn't irritate your skin or anything when you're wearing it, despite it being made of chips. It's like more advanced edible underwear, but it tastes like munchie mix, and it's called Me Funchies.
I think this is actually an issue. So there's a lot of waste in the world.
Yep.
Textiles and clothing being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a lot of people donate to thrift shops and things like that, but there's a lot of clothes that just end up in the garbage.
Yep.
How do we make all clothes edible while also being respectful to everyone's dietary needs? Should we line up trends in fashion with certain flavor palettes? Because I do think people who have specific dietary restrictions, whether it's genetic or by choice, tend to all look the same with their clothing. You know what I mean? Not to put any stereotypes out there, but I do think vegans tend to dress a different way compared to people who are very into the macho meat eating thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could make clothes that and advertise to vegans, they taste and are made out of one thing versus the meat eaters, it's another thing. What do you think about this?
I actually have two solutions to this problem.
Okay.
One is outside of the list of requirements you've given me, but I'll give you the one that I have that meets the criteria.
Meat.
I think that we should make our clothes out of the same thing that they made Soylent Green out of.
People?
Think about it. So sustainable. We don't take young or middle-aged people. We do old people. We're just essentially recycling. We don't put them in a box. We don't put them.
My grandpa donated his body to science.
Exactly. So we take, it was usually revolves around organs and stuff like that. In this instance,
I use the skin.
The skin.
Yeah.
Use everything, and then we put the bones into a broth or something. But we use the skin and we reuse it. Obviously, that would also incentivize trade because you don't want to be wearing your recycled family members. So most likely the skin that gets taken from your family member to be converted into clothing will probably be sold in a different part of the world.
You know, also you know how sometimes when you buy like clothing made from like fair trade materials and stuff, it has like sometimes on the tag or even when you buy it, it comes with a little note. It's like, oh, this is where it's from. Like this is what it's made of. This is who makes it. You could get like information about somebody else, and you could learn about different cultures around the world. Like maybe if you get like someone from like India, right? And like
Yeah.
I'm just some white dude. Like this is made from an old Indian woman. Was her life. This is the thing she practiced. Like you can learn while you're wearing clothes, and we save graveyard space, and there's no more thrown out clothes. Or if we do, they tend to decompose better.
Then also on top of that, on the flip side of you of people who receive the clothes learning about things, you can also learn about the people who have received your clothes. You know, so when
Oh, it's
in
like a
both
pen
ways-
pal.
Yeah, it's like a little pen pal thing where you're like, oh, like your grandma was received by the Lin family, and then
Yeah.
and then they tell you about the Lin family, and you know you learn a little bit about it and about other people.
That'd be a good way to meet new people as well, because you can make like, you know, it wouldn't happen all the time, but I imagine like I don't know, maybe 10% of the time you meet like a new family that you become friends with.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I think that would be a way. So yeah, like incentivizes trade, actually could create um wonderful bridges between cultures and other parts of the world.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry your fucking dead family members.
Do you think then fashion trends would be determined by what people are eating at the time? Because I think what their body is made of obviously changes based on their diet. So
not even just that, but like um celebrities and people that belong to like wealthy families, it would almost become the equivalent of like a Gucci or Versace. Like it'd be like, oh, you're
my
wearing
clothes only ate organic, like
yeah.
fucking high fat, like crazy grown shit.
Like, oh, you're wearing the Bloomberg. Oh, it's a very nice, the nice oily,
Very
very
salty.
salty. It's kind of weird. It's kind of too salty. But you know, I listen whatever makes you happy. And you know, it'd be like, you'd have like rare drops. You know, like you get like, oh, this is the Gaga collection. You know, and like it's like every bit of the clothing has like pieces of Gaga in it, or maybe like they were like, oh, we've sewn.
Oh, it's like a one of a kind.
Yeah, you know, like well, because
Or they put a piece of her into like maybe 100 different
yeah,
things.
something like that. Like either or it's like a really expensive one of a kind piece, or it's like a limited time offer. Because obviously, like there's only one Lady Gaga, so like you're gonna fucking like you can't like. But like if you have like a really wealthy family, like an oligarchy or something, like that those kind of like because those people already own multimedia kind of stuff and have like their teeth in different things. So it'd be kind of like that would be the new Gucci. Is
Yeah.
like, oh, like you want to buy this fucking fancy Russian name or whatever. Like that's the brand.
I got the Jessica Alba on right now.
Oh yeah, it looks good on you.
Thanks, man. This could present issues, however, though, where maybe families of lower income, if they get really desperate and they have like an older person in their family who's like maybe on their way out, they'd be like, man, if we just like invest a little bit in some good food, we could sell them for a lot higher once they pass away. And then they'd be force feeding family members specific foods to increase their value for when they pass.
Okay, I see.
You know what I mean? Because like,
See, but I'm the only reason I don't necessarily agree with that is like I think it is a very but I mean I guess that's also emblematic of like how people chase the dream. Like they're like, I'm gonna become a rich guy. Like maybe that mentality would carry over into this. But like at least to me, but maybe it's because I have a more realistic view on how wealth works. Is that I know for a fact that my skin will never be as worth monetarily wise as a fucking Ben Affleck.
no, not to that degree, but maybe it's like maybe your grandpa just eats like I don't know, rice and beans every day, and let's put a number to it. Let's say a rice and beans old man when he passes, his clothes are gonna be worth $27. Maybe the family's like, okay, if we just force feed this guy some like roast chickens and a couple oysters a week, we can increase that to maybe $50 a pop. You know what I'm saying? Like not a crazy uptick, but just enough to give the rest of the family like a bit more money when he passes. You know what I'm saying?
So okay, so if we're basing this somewhat in reality, then, because like when we started discussing this, I wasn't thinking about it in terms of like a profit. Like I just thought it was just like how the world works. But it makes sense that in a capitalist world, they would find ways to make this
Of course, yeah.
be a money thing.
So we save. So I guess this is still like, you know, better than before because we're saving we're not saying we're reducing waste,
Mhm.
but the economic problems are still there. But I don't think they get worse. You
If
know,
we're reducing waste, though, then like as much as we'll have economic problems probably forever, the Earth is healthier and will last longer.
that would probably. You're right, and I think with a healthier Earth, that does tend to, I think, kind of bring everyone's quality of life up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Makes
like
sense.
healthy, like health wise and all. Yeah. So overall, I think this is a plus.
Yeah, like listen, you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet. So
Yeah.
like we might have a bunch of issues still, but
As long
at
as
the very
money
least,
exists, like people trying to weasel their way into getting more will always be around.
yeah.
Awesome. Another problem solved.
Look at that. We're fucking on a roll
It's
today.
cracking them out today. What's another good one? Hmm. What's been bothering you recently besides Quiet?
Place.
Yeah.
I don't have enough money. But that's
Constant.
that's a constant issue. I don't know if I can ever fix that problem.
I got one.
All right, hit me with it.
Fuck, man. I'm tired of busting everywhere.
Yeah.
Shit fucking blows.
Oh, sorry. Wait, before we tackle this issue,
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot I had an alternate way to solve this issue.
Okay, yeah.
clothing
We can
thing.
hold off on bus.
Sorry, we'll get to that though.
Yeah.
So for my alternate issue, this is more of the jokey one. We built a time machine, and we go back far enough in time to the first sin, and we slap that fucking apple out of Eve's hand, because the only reason that they started wearing clothes was because they felt shame when they
Oh.
when she first bit the apple and introduced sin, because then we had all these other feelings, because back then, at least in biblical side of it, before that bitch ate that apple, everyone was just like, fuck, man, life's fucking cool, man.
Did they have like? So they felt shame after, but did they have happiness before? Because can you have happiness without the bad emotions? Was everything just a zen?
It probably was just like a zen thing.
Okay.
Like it was just,
That wouldn't be bad.
you just walk outside and you're like, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, why would I think about anything else? That's what they were going through back then. And then she fucking ate the apple because the snake convinced her to do it.
So maybe we don't have to slap. Maybe we just have to kill the snake.
Just slap the snake.
No, kill it.
Oh,
Cook 'em
cool,
up.
kill it.
She can eat this. If she's hungry, she can eat the snake.
Yeah, I mean the apple did look tastier, I assume.
Nah, I've heard
But they
snake.
probably didn't like back then. They probably didn't know. Like maybe that was one of the sins, was that we taste like shit tastes bad to us. Like she probably could have eaten like fucking poo on the ground and been like, oh so good.
The apple was sweet.
The apple was sweet.
I've
yeah.
heard snake tastes like chicken.
It's not true.
But that's what I've heard. So I'm.
Okay.
But I am in the action suit, so I'm an expert on everything. I'm gonna say right now, snake tastes like chicken.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'd rather have a good roast chicken than an apple any day.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
It all depends on how many doctors you want to keep away in a day.
I
'Cause
just
one doctor a day tries to kill you, and if you don't eat an apple, that doctor will get closer every day.
so is Eve responsible for the lot? So that maybe there was one doctor back then, and he lost his job because of her.
Right? Yeah. He was the doctor of keepsaking the garden. They didn't really know what a doctor meant back then.
And she ate the apple, and he had to go away.
Yeah.
That poor doctor, man.
He was. They called him a doctor, but he was realistically like a security guard. But the name just kind of stuck. Like I don't know where it got confused in the dialect, but suddenly doctor meant like the health guy.
Yeah.
But originally, like a doctor was a security guard, and he was keeping the garden like like no one was getting in, no one was getting out. And then
she ate it, and
Eve
she-
walks in, and she's a beautiful woman,
Yeah.
like
Naked.
Also the first woman. So like he like that's a testament to how beautiful women are. Is this guy didn't even know, he didn't have anything to compare this to, and he was like,
It's like if a kid has never seen a movie before, no matter what movie you show him, he will love it.
yeah, that's exactly Like he just saw her. He was just like,
That's something.
that's something. And she's all like, she's naked, which like didn't mean anything back then, but for some reason he was still like, because he's not like Adam. Like he was put there by God as like a different entity. So like he has some of the emotions, because he comes from like, I assume in heaven, everyone, like all the higher ups, all the people in corporate in heaven, those are the people who like they understand and like what evil is,
Yeah.
which is how they combat Satan, you know. So like they have an understanding of it, and he's one of those guys. So like he knows what sin is.
He gets horny.
Yeah, so he's horny, and she's like, oh, can I come look inside? I promise I won't eat an apple. And he's just like, yeah, fuck it, sure. But they didn't know that the snake was in there, and he represents bad corporate.
Yeah.
He's the Disneyland down there, and he's just like
Forced buyout, aggressive takeover.
just saying that was literally a line from Succession.
Yeah, I'm an expert in everything. I got the action suit on.
uh,
Business talk, doctor shit, world problems. I got it all figured out.
so yeah, so he lets her into the garden, and they've got like PA systems everywhere, so everyone hears everything. And like one of the snakes, he runs downstairs, and he's like, Satan, you got to get up there right now. Like this is prime real estate for our because Satan. I assume Satan probably even has some higher ups. Like he's a front man, you know. Like he's like you always know. Like you look at your like Elon Musk's or like your Donald Trumps, and like they're bad people.
But it's like it's scary to think about who's above.
Yeah,
them.
like who's
we
above
don't
them,
even know.
You know, like they got their own like people pulling their strings, and that's in this case. Like Satan is just like he's just the guy. Like he's the guy. He's the PR guy. Like
he's like Sauron.
yeah,
Like, you know about that? Like Sauron's like a lower level management guy in the evilness of Middle Earth.
that's crazy.
Yeah, there's another dude who's like fucking like Lord of Chaos or something.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that like Satan is like he's just the guy they send out there to like take all the heat. He's like, yeah, I did it. You know, like 9/11. He's just like, yeah, that was me. I did it. Sorry. Yeah. So you know, so like a guy runs like, he's like, Satan, you gotta get up there, right? Like this is like they pitch something to corporate like of being like, here's our evil plan for the world. You know, like God just made this cool world, and like we've been fighting him in the cosmos, but like we have a new battlefront Earth.
You could fuck up his new
He
project.
could fuck up his new project, and like that would make him look bad to his bosses.
Oh man, God's bosses.
God's bosses.
Oh, that's scary.
That's a great. Like, I'm sure he's real nice because he's God's boss.
Damn, what if God boss and Sane boss, same dude?
Oh,
He's
man.
putting them against each other
Yeah,
as a competition to see who can the best one
he's
wins.
the best guy.
Because he's just trying to,
He's bored.
he's big guy of everything. He just
He's
wants
actually got a gambling addiction.
he just wants to control the most powerful dude, and he
Yeah.
needs to figure out who that is first.
Yeah. Chain of command. Yeah.
Wow, he's scary.
Anyways, so we're gonna ahead of ourselves
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
So Satan pitches something to corporate like a month ago. You know, like God is busy. He's on the fucking third of the 7th days right now.
He's making plants. He got the
Making
tree
plants.
DLC
He
going.
hasn't even
There's-
thought about humans yet.
He's like he had 10-foot tall spiders yesterday. What's next tomorrow?
Yeah. So like they're like he's working on something that's crazy. Like we gotta fuck this thing up. So they pitch like the fucking evil apple thing, which like and it plays into the fact that there is a super god that is the boss of both regular God and Satan. Is he basically he's like okay, like God, you've this big earth, but we have our investors to worry about, and our investors like they want some land on Earth too. And God's like, okay, they can have like a little fucking garden, and we'll call it the Garden of Eden, even though it's filled with the most horrible things in the world, like apples that make the world evil. So they agree, and they're like, God gives them a little patch of land. They build their evil apple tree, and then, but what they don't know is that they had like a secret hatch built into the grass that leads right down to hell.
This is the biggest buildup to an ending everybody already knows.
We're just giving the good backstory.
This is like a Quiet Place Day 1. I already know how it's gonna end. Continue.
No, but this is built up to the doctor thing. I forgot about that. But we started this because I was talking about doctors. Anyway, so Eve eats the apple, and then the doctor guy loses his job, and then now
He's like, oh, that was the only thing I was in charge of.
Yeah, so
Thanks
now-
for taking it away from me.
and God created him just to do that. So he's just like, what the fuck do I do now? So then he leads the new, like he basically makes all the doctors from that point forward, which originally were just supposed to be security guys, but then the name got mixed up, so now it's actual like
He's like,
doctors.
I gotta find this guy a new job. And
Yeah,
I don't wanna
and so
change his
now
title.
actual doctors, like in their doctor code, beside the Hippocratic Oath, is a thing that says if someone doesn't eat an apple, you fucking go and murder them, and that's just like, and they're like, Why do we have to do that?
It's all for appearance. Because if he changed his title, that would make him look bad. It's like, oh, you're being transferred to some other department.
And also, like, because like doctors are perceived in a higher regard than security guards, and he was just kind of like, well, I'm not gonna correct them because like it makes me seem like a loser. So like an apple a day keeps the security guard away. That doesn't roll.
You get to keep the name, but your responsibilities are changed.
Yeah, which if anything, it makes him like definitely more. Like, I don't feel bad about like him being angry because like being a security guard, that's a fucking easy gig. And now he's running the head of the doctors, like where there's all this science and
he's got to worry about apples now.
He's got so much to worry about. So then he put it into the Hippocratic Oath, like right beside in fine print that if someone doesn't eat an apple a day, you go and kill them.
Yeah.
And that's the backstory of that. Was there an issue we solved or?
Yeah, I don't know. We got away from it. We solved something, or we figured out the bigger god.
That's
So how do we kill biggest god? What's he worried about?
It's the one thing they never expect: smothering.
That's it.
I think you could kill a lot of people if you just waited till they were asleep.
We get a big planet, and we just
like if we didn't have like the Geneva Convention and all this other kind of stuff, like to forbid war crimes. I think everyone would just be killing each other when they're sleeping. That's one way to do it. That's
funny.
That's the easiest thing.
That like I don't know if funny. It is funny to me, but like, so we acknowledge like war is like one of the worst things ever. Like, I don't know what the exact word of the quote is, but there's some guy, probably a poet, maybe Bob Dylan. Seems like a Bob Dylan thing to say. He's like only bad people go to hell. Everyone is in war. That's how bad it is. Like one of the worst things ever. And all the countries were like, you know what? War is okay if you play by some rules that we're going to make up. And then on top of that, nobody listens to them.
Yeah. And they also they don't give anyone the metaphorical slaps on the wrist with a ruler if they do break the rules. Because you can see that going on with Russia right now.
Yeah.
They're breaking all kinds of, and everyone's just like,
what could we, like
what do you want us to do?
Like, nobody's going to launch a nuke. Like, everyone knows, like, as soon as one nuke is launched, like, it's over.
Yeah.
So it's like
mutually assured destruction.
Like, I'm glad that they, like, what would have been best is if they all just agreed, like, hey, we shouldn't do this whole war thing. This is kind of bad for everyone. That's like, best case scenario. Obviously, we don't live in like a utopia, so that's never gonna happen. So I am glad on the one hand that they were like, okay, let's try to at least be like a little nicer about it, and let's make up some rules. But it's like nobody listens to them because you know what it is? Because it's war, and it's the worst thing ever. Rules have no weight there.
Yeah, like a kid throwing a tantrum isn't gonna suddenly care about getting grounded. He's on a roll. He's on a warpath.
He's mad. Like if when you're a kid and you're fucking like you're really mad and you're just like pushing chairs over or whatever. You're like ripping posters off the wall because you're angry. Like it doesn't matter if your mom's like, well, that's another 10 minutes in the timeout for you. You're just like, fuck you. I'm gonna keep doing this shit.
I think the problem with that though is that if we come to the conclusion that these things do not work, it's not gonna change because the world leaders will go, but then that would mean we were wrong, and that's not possible.
No. Man, imagine Matt Cooper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna paint a picture for you.
All right.
This is like a dreamscape.
Okay.
Imagine the world where not even everyone, but just like 50% of the people were completely okay with admitting that they were wrong sometimes. Think about that world. It's nice. Now I'm going to bring you back to reality.
Ah! Why did you show me this world?
Imagine if all the people were like, yeah, I was wrong. Sorry. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
This is a complete side note, but because I'm high, I just became aware of it, and I'm hyper fixating on it. The other night, I mentioned that there was a spider in our house.
Is there a spider above me?
It's not above you. It's over behind the camera, just above the light. And I'm really wondering if it looks about the same size. I'm wondering if that's the spider we kicked out of our house last night. And it just moved in here now.
I don't even want to look at them.
At first I was like, oh, it's just a spider web. And then I saw it moving. And I was like, there's no wind in here. And and it looks like there's a spider.
So I
sitting
got
in it.
that to worry about now. Okay, so I gotta
It's
manifest.
very far away.
So
from
I gotta
you.
manifest the cameras. I gotta manifest the audio,
Yeah,
the
keep the spider away
spiders.
from you. And also got to make sure the spiders don't become 10 feet tall.
That's a lot to worry about.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
How close is he to the Bionicle?
He's very far.
Okay, that's good to know.
He'd have to walk upside down to get to the Bionicle, which would be terrifying for you.
Toatahu will keep him away. Cool.
Yeah, so he's fine.
So we got maybe last issue then. So I hate busing.
Yeah.
Partially because fucking half of the time they either break or don't show up when I need them. And it's not even like the random small like buses that go on routes that nobody takes. No, this is the fucking R2. This is like the bus that comes every 5 minutes. It's the big green one. Everybody's on it. Showed up to Lonsdale Key the other day, and the lady was like, "It broke. No more busing today." And I had to call you to get a ride. Like,
He did, yeah.
fuck is up with that?
I think I can solve this issue.
It's very easy. Trains everywhere and trams. Done.
See, that certainly sounds practical. But is it the cool thing to do?
I like this. I like this. I like this.
So this would be this would fit into what we were talking about earlier about kind of changing genealogy and
Yeah.
making spiders bigger. I'm not making spiders bigger. What I'm doing though is we kind of adopt the Jurassic Park kind of thing where they're messing with, you know, like they're creating dinosaurs with
Mhm.
like, you know, fossilized DNA. So we're doing that, except we're not fucking making our own dinosaurs. We're enhancing humans. Like, think about it. What if you could give humans fucking velociraptor legs? You would never need
So we could just
anything again.
Pew.
You're there so fast. Or T-Rex legs, because T-Rexes, I was reading this thing. T-Rexes were fucking fast.
Yeah.
Like, you may think that because they're so big, they're slow.
No.
They have this special enhancement on their foot that literally makes them fucking faster.
It's like those Nike shoes that you
Yeah.
put on and let you jump higher.
Like they were fast. Like they were going really fast on, and not to mention that they're already big and scary. Like they were probably I think they were one of the fastest predators.
Yeah.
I think. So we
They
do
have
that.
thunder thighs.
Yeah, they do. Big, sexy thunder thighs.
T-Rex.
T-Rex. More like T-Sex.
What are you doing to me, T-Rex? Okay, so but this is I have a concern about this.
Mhm.
So if we all had T-Rex legs,
Yep.
wouldn't we need to make the buildings bigger to accommodate for that? And as a result of that, wouldn't everything just become more further apart? So even though we're faster, things are now more spread out. So in which case, we're just back to square one.
Okay, well maybe I'm thinking too big. What if
That's why I like the Velociraptor, because the Velociraptor legs are about
Well, yeah, well Velociraptors would by far be the one.
about the same size, but we can just run. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
well, we don't like unless we want like fucking like if we wanted to make the T-Rex equivalent of Usain Bolt, then yeah, we can give that motherfucker the T-Rex legs. And he'll be rich enough from being the fastest guy on earth that he can afford to buy a house that's bigger to accommodate his
Yeah.
size. But the regular average folk, we don't need to run that fast. We need to run fast, but we don't need to run as fast as Usain T-Rex Bolt. So you know, we give people Velociraptor legs, which are arguably maybe one of the second fastest, if not. I don't know. They might be faster than T-Rexes. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
I imagine the T-Rex a lot faster.
if the T-Rex was like the size of Velociraptor, I'd say Velociraptor, but I think it's because
Yeah.
they have such long strides. too.
Explosives, yeah.
So
Explosive legs.
yeah. Oh, that's what it was. They have a thing in their leg where they never lose that explosive momentum. Like, you know, like after we start running, like we use up all the kinetic momentum like first to get us going, and then we're just kind of maintaining it.
Do you ever this is kind of related, like as a kid, did you ever have those like questions for like you ask your parents because you're just like curious about the world, and like the answer they gave you like just didn't like make sense? Like it's like it is the real answer, but you as a kid haven't like wrapped your mind. So like mine was I used to ask my dad, I'm like what's the longest a human can sprint for, like at full speed? And he's like, I don't know, like 20 seconds. And I'm like okay, like so it's like if I told you to do a 20-second sprint, you'd do it and you'd be like, okay, I'm like maxed out. And then I told you, okay, if you don't do a 21-second sprint, I'm gonna shoot your whole family in front of you. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna do the 21-second sprint. And then you're like, okay, I'm maxed out. And and then I'm like, if you don't do the 22-second sprint, same deal. You would push yourself. So it's like, what is the actual limit? this is also another question I had as a kid, where it's like what's the moment in which you actually starve to death?
Isn't it like? Isn't it like without water? It's like a week at most.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So let's say I don't know what 24 times 7 is, but it's that amount of hours. Like right when the clock strikes that second, you pass away from the dehydration, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a glass of water, and let's say you're like crawling through the desert to like find this water, the glass of water is maybe 10 seconds out of reach past that time. You are going to push yourself to get that glass of water, which is past the week. So what is the limit? Like, is there a point in which you could put the water where like you become within like a centimeter of reaching it and then you die? What is that point? I want to know.
I feel like, but I feel like I feel like it's one of those definitive things where like it's kind of like when you have reached that point, you are. I don't think you would be able to push past those 10 seconds to get it, because I think like our bodies literally like betray us at a certain point where it's like we cannot physically. It's kind of like when people.
But then you hear things about like moms who lift in like fucking Ford F-150s to
but
get their kids out
that's
of
like
it.
adrenaline, which I don't know if you would get in that kind of instance because you're just dying of exhaustion by like more so than like the dehydration. Exhaustion is what's going to get you also, like, because you are not going to be able to move as much as you could.
So if you were dying and you're at the last 5 seconds, and I put a glass of water in front of you, you got to go. Not even 10 seconds. You got to go an extra second and a half. You're saying you wouldn't get it?
Well, the first thing I'd say was, did you have that the whole time? Like, I'd be like, I've been crawling in front of
This
you.
is a socks type experiment. But
Okay.
like, so you're telling me you wouldn't be able to get the extra 1.5 seconds?
I can't say what I would or wouldn't be able to do.
You don't think you have it in you?
Not that I don't have it in me. I'm just taking into consideration that, like, I just don't. I think, like, the only thing that gives people that, like, crazy power is adrenaline.
Yeah.
Which I just don't know if you'd have, like,
You wouldn't have
because
it in you.
adrenaline, isn't it something that, like, literally has to be triggered? Like, it's like a fight or flight response.
Yeah, if I saw a glass of water and I'm fucking dying, yeah, I would get excited.
All right, fair enough. I don't know.
I'm making it the 1.5.
Okay. What if I pick up the glass of water? I go, no.
And then the hope would, I think the loss of hope would kill you instantly.
Yeah.
I'd be on with you on that one. Yeah.
That's kind of like there's this story I read. It's this very short story, and it's about this this guy who has just been he spent like I think he's in hell, and he's just spent like years, if not centuries, just fucking crawling against the sand and the desert, and the devil comes down and gives him a glass of water, and he drinks it, and he's like, what, like, why would you do this to me? Like, why would you give me this? And the devil just goes, oh, because you've forgotten what kindness was. And then the water turns into sand and leaves him in the desert again. And I'm like that would kill me, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe in like the last second or something, like, yeah, I could get that extra burst of energy. This all started from talking about buses.
Yeah. We're solving a lot of problems
Solved
today.
a lot of problems
So
here.
anyway, so you had the T-Rex legs was was your solution. So mine is Road 2.
Okay.
So
You got my attention.
we make this, and this comes back to the mole man thing. Like we've run out of horizontal space, sideways time.
Yep.
Sideways space.
Yep.
So we need to go vertical now. So either underground or up. I think up would be cooler. We make road above normal road. That's only for buses.
Mhm.
So there's no chances of it being late because it's the only thing on there. The city looks fucking cool because you have roads that are like 30 feet. They're boosted roads. And then also, like, that'd be nice too. Like, you get a bit of a view of everything while you're on the bus. There's no cars in the way. And this would employ a lot of people. I think it's a win for everything. Like, why don't we have roads on top of roads?
Make a very valuable point.
We have like sky trains.
I'm gonna be honest, you had me at road 2. I was on board.
I couldn't think. I was deciding between up road versus road 2. They're both really good.
Uproad would be the name of the movie that they base upon the construction of it. It'd be called Uproad.
But the what do you call it? The not the trademark, but the patent would be Road 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like yeah, the regular like everyone calls it Road 2. The movie would just be called Uproad,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a bit like how like you know how we call like it's a Kleenex, right? You're like, "Oh, I need to blow my nose. Can you give me a Kleenex?"
What we all call tissues.
Well, it's like Kleenex is a specific brand.
Yeah. But colloquially
It's tissues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little mix up. So
yeah.
that'd be
Honestly, the movie would be trying to make like Uproad a thing. Like they're like the movie
Oh,
is
they're trying to
kinda
rebrand it from
yeah,
because
like-
the people who funded it, they're a
They're like-
competitor company.
they're like, but we never called it Road 1 to begin with. Like that already makes it a bit confusing for people. People are stupid. You know?
Yeah, they don't get
Because
it,
World
yeah.
War 1 is not called World War 1.
You
It's
put a
called the
road on
Great
top
War.
of a road, and they're just
Yeah. So like they're like people are gonna be confused and stupid. So they're like we gotta rebrand, because it's not really Road 2, because it's just an extension of the regular roads that now have a different direction. You know, like it's not like you have to take a shuttle in your car to the other road. It's just like you can probably get to Road 2 from the regular highway.
So yeah, so the way I'm thinking about it is like because like cars aren't allowed on Road 2, it's just transit.
Okay.
So the way you get up it is at like the main big stops like Phibbs, Lonsdale Key, Park Royal, and they have like a circular ramp that the bus goes up onto it.
Okay.
But then for the people that actually get on the stops, you just have like you know those like running paths that go over roads and they have like a little like loop. It's like a little loop that the people walk up, and then the stop is on like the top of the road part.
Okay.
And that's how I'd imagine it. So there's really only like 3 or 4 entrances for the vehicles to get on there. But then you just put the stops and have little ramps for the people to walk up at all the normal stops that they're at.
Yeah.
And then, but then also with this is we could still maybe this is like an upgraded tier of the Compass card. So we still have regular transit on Road 1,
Mhm.
and that's for like maybe $30 a month. Very low quality. Like, you got to deal with that. Deal with the fucking bus breaks all the time. They're fucking late. They take wrong turns. Did I tell you when the bus I took from Cap one time took a wrong turn, leaving Cap, and was just in the middle of the woods behind Cap, and had to do a 58-point turn next to a dude's fucking ranch. And I was on the way to teach karate, so I called them, and I was like, I had to call the school. I was like, I don't know how to explain this, but my bus is doing a 58-point turn behind my school right now. I'm gonna be late. Yeah, and then the one on the up road, that's like $200 a month for the transit pass on that one. But like that one's like
So it's essentially like a Disney Fast Pass.
yeah, but it's like you're guaranteed to get where you need to go, and they would run like really often on that one too. Like every 3 minutes there's a bus, no matter what. Doesn't matter what route it is, like it's gonna be set up for you. And then on the lower one is like, oh, that'd be if after 3 minutes it's gonna be like $500 a month. But man, it's worth it. You get driven everywhere too. And the lower one is the shitty fucking. They run every 45 minutes.
But you're just introducing unnecessary capitalism to this.
So it's not like I want this to happen, but I am just.
You're building this in a real world, not a utopia.
Yeah, I'm thinking ahead of how this would, they would use this to fuck
they'd
over.
monetize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I think the time you would save with the 500-month pass might make it work. I guess it depends what kind of job you work. But it's like,
I mean, I don't know how much I spend on gas a month, but that could be a worthy comparison, is checking how much you spend on gas a month versus how much.
But it's like, would you? Because if you are in a car, right? Like right now, like having a car is better than transit.
Yeah.
Because you can go specifically to where you're going. But what I'm imagining with Road 2 is they're gonna go everywhere, like almost down to like the exact block that you need to go. And because no regular cars can go on there, like it would actually be maybe worth it for people who have cars to use the other pass, because there's no traffic up there. Like there's never any congestion.
Right.
There.
So I've got like my horse goggles on. I'm thinking very narrowly here.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about monetarily, but you are also saving very crucial just regular time.
Yeah.
Like not like because you're excluding regular travel time because now everything is down to like at most 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But 2, now you're excluding like any like not being able to be at specific destinations. Like you are there when you like 3 minutes or less, which already saves you time from being like your bus. You have to take different buses to get to the right area.
Yeah.
And 2, like the bus being like a couple blocks away from where you have to
And
be.
it's also like if you tell somebody like I'll be there around 6, it's either gonna be 5:57, 6, or 6:03.
Yeah.
No matter what.
No matter what, yeah.
And that's awesome. And so then like as you're growing up, you're starting to kind of figure out like, you know, this is kind of from the perspective of somebody who has a little bit of money to throw around. But it's like, okay, do I want regular bus pass, which is the lowest, or it's like, do I want bike around? Do I want to do regular bus pass? Do I want my own vehicle, or do I want super transit? Because I think 500 a month would be able to support the system and would be worth it because the money you'd spend on gas, insurance, and car payments instead would just go to super transit on road 2.
Yeah, I actually I'm really come around on this idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on board from road 2.
Road 2, but you see like all
But, like,
the cool,
I can see how it'll work now.
Yeah. and it's like, and that also eliminates like the people being like, how can you justify a $500 a month like bus pass? Like, no, you just use this instead of your car.
It also would really turn around PR on buses because it's only really a Canadian and American thing is that transit is kind of looked down upon.
Which is crazy because apparently BC has like the best one in Canada.
Yeah, and it's still kind of like frowned upon.
and
Like
it fails me
I know
all the
every
time.
time I took the bus, I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm such a bloody loser. So, but like everywhere else in the world, taking transit is just like
What's the norm?
it's the norm. And I think this has such a positive outlook on it changes people's outlook on transit in general. And it would probably maybe even this could be the thing that would defeat the car industry
Yeah.
because people would be like incentivized more to just take transit, you know.
Now I got a proposition for you.
Yeah.
Road 3. Now this is a road above road 2. 4,000 a month,
Okay.
your own vehicle.
Oh, so you have a special vehicle not only for traversing the road 3, but you get the road all to yourself basically. Well, not all
Because
to
it's so
yourself.
expensive.
Yeah.
So again, no congestion, your own car, get anywhere you need to go. It's called Road 3.
Okay, but hear me out.
It's so high up, you have the best view all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Road 4.
Oh shit!
It's not even a road. It's just a big teleporter. $10,000 a month.
It's the iPhone of roads.
Yeah.
And then when they first put it out, it's too much for like there's only like 10 people that can afford it. And then hundreds of years down the line, it's the norm.
Yeah. Like $10,000 to start because it's a big thing to fund.
Yeah.
But like over time, like when people start using it more, like it becomes a bit more
It's still
normal.
expensive, but it becomes such a necessity, like a necessary part of our life. Like everyone, like you see that now. Even like people who like have are in like states of lower income, they still have smartphones. Maybe not an iPhone, but it's like the technology is so advanced. Like for the most part, most people are usually able to afford something, or they like understand it's like this. I need to get one of these to operate. Like that'll be teleporter shit. Like maybe it's 10% of your annual income, but like you need it. It's
Yeah.
part of our life.
So it's the teleporter. Basically, you get a modular implant that allows you to like you think it. That's where you end up. And like but you do have to walk through the teleporter. We haven't gone that far science wise yet.
Yeah.
Like you need to have a vessel. Like you can't. It's not like Nightcrawler. Like you have to actually go to the teleporter. But there's different ones all over the globe. And at some point they'll be in people's houses. But that's just we're not there yet.
Now I was gonna say, I'm imagining a 2-tiered system to this, where tier 1 is you have to use the public teleporters, much like kind of like phone booths,
Yeah.
and tier 2 is it's like the people who get the Tesla chargers in their home.
Yeah. So then they have like a really smaller one.
Yeah.
I think that would be, but even crazier than Road 4.
Oh my god, no, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
Road 5.
Ah!
Here's what happens on Road 5.
Okay.
Now this Road 5 at this point, it's more of a novelty thing. Like this is just something
just-
like the
it's
mega
like
rich people just do it because they're like, fuck it, I can do it.
It's
you
like
know?
the folding smartphone.
Yeah,
it's
like
why?
it's not really useful. If anything, it's probably a detriment to the environment and everything around it. But it's so fucking cool, and you're so rich you can afford it. Like, why wouldn't you do it? So in tier 5, sorry, not tier 5, Road 5, your body and mind get merged with the fastest jet in existence, and you could just.
Is it a permanent procedure?
no,
No.
no, it's temporary.
So you become a transformer?
Essentially, yeah. That's tier.
That's the best one. That's the best
road
one.
5.
Easily.
Yeah. So like it's it's not really useful because I'm assuming there's probably like a cooldown period, and like once you're a jet, like the fucking B-52 Blackbird or whatever it's called, the fastest one, like the stealth bomber.
Imagine you're like just like a middle class or like lower class kid going to public school, and then you leave, and then fucking Timmy's dad is fucking super rich, and like your mom comes to pick you up on road 1
Yeah.
actually, and you look over at Timmy and goes, "All right, see you tomorrow."
Yeah.
Flies away.
The only thing that sucks about it is that like it lasts for half an hour at a time, but like that's not an issue because you go so fast that like you'll be around the earth before you even worry about it.
I'm gonna get a croissant in France
Yeah.
real quick.
But that's the thing. That's the thing is that there's no off switch. It's 30 minutes exactly.
Oh.
So you go to like you go to like you go to get a croissant in France. Like they have to like accommodate for the fact that you will like you got here in 8 minutes, so you still have like you have a lot of time left on your transformer.
So if I'm going to Maple Ridge, I gotta do laps around for like 10 minutes
Yeah.
waiting to land.
I'm sure this will change over time, but as like first release, patch 1 of Road 5, like you're a plane for 30 minutes no matter what.
Yeah.
So like you gotta kind of be like you gotta time it really well, and then there's a 30-minute cooldown. So like you become like you get to France, you do a couple laps, and then you can go get yourself a croissant. Then you have to be like you like wait in there for like 30. Like okay, I guess I'll get a baguette or 2 or like some cheese and to pass the time before you're able to like turn into a transformer again.
Yeah.
Then you can go.
So I think last one for this episode.
Yeah. I swear to
You
God,
ain't-
if you say Road 6.
You ain't gonna see what's coming. All right.
Okay.
Road 6.
Ah! No.
Now this one is special.
Okay.
It is just a regular road, but
But the road has many people. The cars are.
and there's only one of them
Okay.
per. You'll see. So, Road 6 is in, let's say New York. That's like kind of, I'd say the hub world of like the modern, maybe like New York or Tokyo, one of those two.
Mhm.
So Road 6 doesn't go this way. Goes that way.
Whoa.
Connects us to Mars. And the Road 6 actually connects the whole solar system together.
Whoa.
So right now the planets like they have different rotations, like they don't all move in one thing, but they will after Road 6 because we're gonna lock them all up.
We're gonna fix everyone's gravital rotation.
Yeah, so they're still rotating around the sun. It's just that we're all synced up now.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to go to Jupiter, like you just got to go to Tokyo, take Road 6 to Mars, then off to fucking, I don't know what's after Mars. What's in between Mars and Mercury? You go to Mercury, then you can go to Jupiter.
That's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah. And that's probably the,
You go
Yeah.
to Jupiter. I assume that's the one that's windy, and you're like, it's like Chicago.
yeah, it's the Windy City. Yeah, that's it. It's going to take a lot of concrete, but I think we can get there.
Think of all the jobs you'll make.
Yeah, with all at that point, by the time Road 6 is around, I
I
think
think everyone will be able to afford Road 5.
well, not only that, but I think that'll be so far in the future. We'll be probably in the first 2 years of Mole Man War 2,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and so they'll be digging up plenty of concrete anyways for us to use. That's where it's going to come from.
If we win the war.
Yeah, assuming we win the war, or maybe maybe it starts because we won Mole Man War 1 and we enslaved them to build Road 6.
So now they're all fed up.
And then they're fed up and they're rebelling in the midst of us building our fucking monolithic solar system empire with Road 6.
So we started the war because we were digging down to get all the concrete, and they were like, "Hey, what the fuck? Like, this is our house."
Yeah.
And then they fought us. The Mole Men War 1.
And
And then
We beat them and we enslaved
beat
them.
them. We enslaved them very easily. And then they get a rebellion going for Mole Men War 2. Are they, if we follow the rules of how World War 2 works,
But and before this the abbreviation is going to be WWMM2, like II.
World War Mole Men. Okay.
Yeah.
Are the moles the Nazis in this one?
No, we are.
We are.
because they're the rebellion.
Yeah.
Because in World War One, like, we started it, which is kind of like Austro-Hungary and Germany, how they like kind of. It's like I don't want to put the blame on one country because World War One is kind of just like a bunch of fucking shit that happened together. But most people put the blame on
Yeah,
Germany.
World War One is a bit more of a confusing one because it's so much more complicated. Like World War Two, pretty clear who's bad and who's good.
Yeah,
But World War One, it's kind of just like
everyone was just
it's
like,
just the
we
arms
just,
race.
want
and
to
all.
fight. Yeah, but it's like in the history books, the way they teach it to kids to simplify it, they goes like, yeah, it's kind of Germany and like Austria-Hungary that started it. So it's
Yeah.
like that's us. We started it, and then we like, unlike in their scenario, we won that one. And then World War II, yeah, the people, Russia, England, fucking the Allies, they rebelled and fight back and win. And then the mole men are like, why do they have roads everywhere? What about Tunnel 2?
They've been sitting on that one for years.
Years.
No one even considered it. They did fucking 6 roads before they did a second tunnel. What's wrong with them?
The injustices.
The injustices.
It's crazy.
It's like that's the equivalent to like when they're like, how come Captain America got 3 movies before they give a woman a movie? And they're like that. They're like, we've been sitting on road 2 forever and we're not getting any funding. Why the fuck did they need a 6th road? It's not even. We're building it.
Tunnel 2, man. It's a new era.
Tunnel
Next
2.
generation.
Tunnel 2 would be crazy. We can't even mentally comprehend what Tunnel 2 would work like. That's
In
beyond,
their weird gravity and with no light.
Yeah.
World.
That is so far beyond our realm of understanding. Like that's a fucking like H.P. Lovecraft monster equivalent of an idea where like we just
Like if a non-mole human steps into Tunnel 2.
they combust.
Yeah, or they just collapse and just die of insanity.
Yeah.
Something like that.
One of the two.
One of the two.
It's almost guaranteed.
Man, Tunnel 2 must be a biggest god type invention.
Oh yeah, no, it's that came straight from fucking
Biggest
higher
god,
ups.
yeah. Holy shit. Way to tie it all together.
It's really beautiful. How long has this episode been going?
How long have we been talking? Probably an hour 40. But this episode will be an hour and 20 for unknown reasons.
I am amazed. I think it's because I'm high. I'm not. I thought it was much less.
No, we went for a good amount. I think that's a good note to end it on. Tunnel 2, like, we can't beat that.
Keep your eyes out, man.
Keep your eyes out. So I'll read
Don't
the
walk in
outro.
there without thinking.
And now, unlike last, I'm actually going to forget to stop recording. So this episode will be 10 hours long.
Awesome.
Going to be a lot of silence, and you'll get to hear the spiders in the walls.
Or the one above you.
Thank you so much for coming out to Daddyland. The Road to the Park is coming soon. Road 2.
Road 2.
It's closing down for the week, though. If you want to, I said this last time, and hopefully, I think we'll probably, I keep saying it's gonna be you and Ryan. They'll build up like a big backlog of them, and maybe in a few episodes they'll just sort through the best messages they get. But if you want to reach out to the show, send us an email at daddylandpod@gmail.com, or send us a message at daddylandpodcast on Instagram. Both of those are spelled just like how you imagine them. I've been your Comptroller Intern Carson, and this has been your Mayor Cooper Johnson. And you're welcome for solving all of the world's issues. Now, can all the smart and rich people get on that right now? Thanks so much. Goodbye.
See ya.